bank. Wow, and dapped me up and told me your money stank. Wow, I'm rather early, so what? Rather early like a birdie. Rolling rolls, you got me feeling like a 30. Trusting the mirror, steady clutching on my pearly. You heard me?
What made me realize that it'll be different every show is the fact that I'm still processing my grief. Because the original run, Silhouettes of Scarlet has always meant to be a one-run show, and that was through Hollywood Fringe. It was just meant for me to release all the emotions, everything that was going on at the time with losing my father and being in an abusive relationship and processing all that. But however, you know, as we all know, grief isn't linear, it zigzags. And when it zigzags, you always learn something new in the process. So proceeding after the first run, and when we went to the Gardena, we started to talk about therapy, the importance of therapy. And, you know, as people of color, we always talk about therapy is important until you actually kind of sit in the room, and it's just, it just becomes a lot more eye-opening. So like making a fictional therapist character where I'm sitting down and asking all these questions, it revealed a lot of insight on, okay, what am I feeling right now? What's this anger? What's this sadness? Because I wasn't feeling any of that. And then that's when I asked all those questions, that's what led to the third run at the Paramount. Me facing my dark side. Anger is just a signal for you loving yourself. It doesn't always have to result in violence and everything of that sort, because everybody has a negative connotation of what anger is. But really, it could be used as something constructive, as like, oh, I love myself and I feel like there's something, a part of me that's violated, right? So with that anger, I discovered that I was actually sexually abused. And as a black queer man, we don't talk about that because it's not normalized and whatnot, and especially by the hands of a woman. So that's what the show is uncovering all these deep, dark things and trying and giving folks a platform to resonate with, because it's not being talked about enough. Preceding that run and realizing I was sexually abused, that came into the whole thing of isolation and ruminating. And that's what I went through this past winter of, okay, what does this look like? How can I present this to people that's going through the same exact thing? So last December, we were supposed to have a run at LATC. We pushed it to this year. And the reason being is that some folks wasn't feeling too good. And our thing with Silhouettes of Scarlet is always about community care and community first. And that's what let me know, okay, Chris, you probably need to slow down. So I slowed down. And then that's actually how the concept for this particular run, the Regent run, came about. I've written this in isolation. The run that was supposed to be at LATC was about a whole nother story, a true story of when I was in Switzerland and I was stranded in the snow. And I had an ex-girlfriend and everything, and just grieving in a whole nother country. So yeah, Silhouettes of Scarlet, it being a community project and some folks actually know who Scarlet is, it became like a very polarizing show. And folks were coming up to me like, how could you do this, X, Y, and Z? But then the thing is that this is my story and my perspective and my lived experience. I'm not out here being misogynistic. I don't play that, for one. Number two, we need to talk about rape culture. We need to talk about abuse in relationships, and especially in the context of interracial relationships, me being black and her being Filipina. And that's the reason why we have the Tagalog numbers. That's why we have Spanish numbers. So all these things in context is important for us to stand tall in our stories, not to let anybody rewrite our stories. So I always tell the homies that. That's why I have a blog. I write everything down. I document everything. And I always tell my supporters, my friends, my community members to document everything. Every time I rewrite the script and make it into a whole new world, a whole new context, I'm reliving that. So the whole thing with like isolation this past winter, I'm reliving it, and with a purpose, right? And it's not for shock value, and not about shock value, and anybody can say what they want to say. A lot of people live through sexual trauma and abuse and then grief, like losing a father, losing a parent. We don't talk about that. And then also in the context of Black grief. Like, it doesn't matter how old that you get, when you lose a parent, because that is a systemic issue. They killed our fathers, they raped our mothers. So it hurts deep. That's a pain no one could really ever fully describe. Me being 32 years old and losing my father when I was 29. That cuts deep. It is a bit difficult to perform these songs, but it's also healing at the same time. So the title Silhouettes of Scarlet, originally it's a psychological drama, and it still is. And the word silhouettes is actually representative of a haunting. So, you know, you see these silhouettes walking around your room, right, at nighttime, or when you're feeling uneasy, or a sleep paralysis demon. For me, that's kind of what it is. Like, Scarlet is that silhouette. I have to relive that trauma every time, like, I'm getting intimate with someone. Yeah, that's kind of like the meaning behind Silhouettes of Scarlet. There isn't really like a particular meaning behind the name Scarlet, but the title, Silhouettes of Scarlet, is representative of a haunting.